Hi guys, welcome to another video. What do I really think about Coach? I'm going to tell you. Let's get going. So many of you ask me why I never talk about Coach, why I've never considered buying Coach, why I don't have any Coach items in my collection. Well, I thought I would do a little bit of a roundup on why I don't have any Coach in my collection and whether that will change anytime soon, because I did go into store. There was quite a big store near me-ish, and I thought I'm going to go and actually have a look at them and get my hands on them and do a proper first impression of the brand, rather than me saying that I like it or I don't like it when I haven't actually ever looked at it properly. So here are my thoughts. So why did I go into Coach? Well, I went into Coach because Louis Vuitton are bringing out the Cherries collection. It's part of the Murakami, the relaunch of the Murakami that we're also wonderfully invested in. And shortly there will be a new drop. Obviously we've had the multicolour and the panda and the flowers. We're now getting the cherry blossom, and then I think maybe in spring, I can't remember if it's May time, we're getting the cherries. Everybody went mad for the cherries. They went absolutely mad back in the day. I was never a fan. I'm not a fan generally of things where you've got the monogram print and then you've got something printed or, you know, embroidered or whatever on the top of it. So anything that's come out, like the flowers in the first drop, that it's just on the monogram canvas, I'm just not a fan. And also, yeah, the cherry blossom, no. The cherries, no. It's just not my cup of tea, which is great. It's great because it means I'm going to save a lot of money and I don't need to order anything from those drops, which makes me very happy. It really makes me happy. However, I got to thinking that if somebody did like the cherries, why not go and have a look at Coach? Because Coach has a new range out that I've seen on social media quite a lot, and I thought that could be a really good idea for somebody who really likes the aesthetic, but they are really not bothered about having a Louis Vuitton bag, for example. So my previous video, which I did get different comments to, and I'm really glad for that, because I think we've all got different opinions and so should we. And in that video I was talking about how dupes never really work if you're wanting the thing itself, and I think this is a good example of, if you like the cherries aesthetic in the Louis Vuitton Murakami collection but you're not really that bothered about buying a Louis Vuitton bag, it's not that particular one you want, you just quite like the look of it, then maybe check out the Coach version, because it is different. It is, obviously it's not on the LV monogram, but it has got that fun, that, you know, the little bit of vibrancy. And cherries, it's just fun, isn't it? So I thought I'm going to go into Coach and I'm going to have a look at this cherry collection. And so I did, and I just thought, when I was looking around the store, I thought, I'm just going to have a look at a few other things and just really get my honest first impression of Coach, because I've never properly looked at it. I've never given it the chance because I've never been interested in it. It's one of those brands. Let's talk about why I have never been interested in it before, and whether that's changed after going into store. So we'll come on to that. We will come on to that. I think the reason is, and I've talked about this a couple of times in videos, I think with Coach it is very much that in-between brand. It's that in-between price point. It is not high street, it is not cheap rubbish type of product, but it is not probably classed as your designer, one of the top fashion houses either. It's that in-between where the items are expensive but they are more of a contemporary level, I would say. If we have to label any of these things, I don't like labeling things, but if we have to, it's sort of in that price point. Looking at in store and looking online, I can't really find a bag that's even anywhere near £1,000. Some of the much bigger bags, like the Empire bag, I think one of those was 950, but most things that I looked at in store and online are 200, 300, 400. There's a couple that are 600. It depends on the size of the bag and the collection, but you are in that sort of range, and price wise it is very good. It is very good. So yeah, anyway, I'm waffling on. Let's go back to why I personally haven't ever bought Coach or looked at it before. I think that the reason for this is I have always been a Louis Vuitton lover. So even back in the day when I couldn't afford Louis Vuitton, I always wanted Louis Vuitton. So for me it was, how do I get to be able to afford Louis Vuitton? I think that's where I was always at. And my first entry level, which I know it sounds terrible saying it's entry level, but I think you guys know what I mean by this. When I couldn't afford Louis Vuitton but I wanted a really lovely designer bag, I bought Mulberry. Now Mulberry is a UK firm, and I think it was one of those, I assume, and correct me if I'm wrong guys, because I know a lot of you live in the USA, I think when we were aspiring to get on the ladder of designer, if you like, I think if you're in the UK, Mulberry was the one. It was so popular. It was, if you had a Mulberry bag, it was amazing, but it wasn't quite as high fashion, if you like, as Louis Vuitton. So there's a lot of Mulberry and a lot of people really loving Mulberry. And I think that's where I was. I love Mulberry and I still love it. And I think it's amazing. And I think maybe in the USA, your version of that was probably Coach, being an American company. So I wasn't aware of Coach until a lot more recently, but it's never really been on my radar at all. At all. It's one of those really weird things where I do think it is more of a USA brand, and it hasn't been as prevalent in the UK as Mulberry is. And I think it's probably the same for you guys. Mulberry, I think some of you guys know it, some of you guys love it. It's not massive in the USA because it is a British brand, so I think that has played into it for me. And once I got to the point where I was aware of Coach, which is much further down the line from when I first started buying bags, I think, yeah, I was straight onto Louis Vuitton. And once I was on Louis Vuitton, even though I had to wait years in between bags because I just had to save up for another one, I would rather do that than buy a lot of things. And I think that's where I was with it, that Louis Vuitton, I was just blinkered to Louis Vuitton. I've never ever, again controversial, but I've never seen a bag from Coach. As I said, I've never properly looked at it, but on social media or wherever, I've never seen a bag ever that I've thought, this is the one, this is the one, it is amazing. Anyway, so I go into store and I'm having a look at the Cherry collection, and it is really cute. I'm not gonna lie, it is really cute. It is definitely not for me. The brightness of the white with the red cherries, it's not me. I would not know how to style that at all. It's just not my cup of tea, as we say. So none of it has tempted me at all, the Cherry collection. But I wanted to say to you guys that if you love that fun, especially that pop of red, if you particularly like the cherry print, if you are looking at the Murakami collection knowing what a nightmare that has been, and you are not bothered about it being a Louis Vuitton bag, you just like the cherries, have a look at Coach, because they are really interesting, fun pieces. The styles of them are great. There's the Tabby bag, there are the little, it looks like the Fendigraphy style bag, where it's like the little is it like little fortune cookie, I suppose, aesthetic. It is tiny, absolutely tiny, but some of the prices of these are absolutely brilliant. They really are. So if you're wanting, as I say, just that pop of colour, that bit of fun, but you just don't want to splash the cash on Louis Vuitton, these are fun, and they are a lot more vibrant than the Louis Vuitton ones are going to be, because these are on a white background, and so they definitely pop a lot more. They are very visual. The one thing I really did like, just while we're talking about the cherries, much as none of the bags are for me, that the print is just not for me whatsoever, but what I did really like was the charms. The charms, they had some cherry charms, and they, honestly, they were beautiful. They were £95, they're very expensive for a charm. Well, compared to Louis Vuitton ones, they're actually really good value, but they were beautifully made, really heavy, absolutely gorgeous. So that is the one thing I would consider, is a charm that was just something fun. I don't know what I would put it on. I'm just sort of half leaning into the bag charm, but if you guys like charms on your bags, go look at Coach, because there was loads of New York ones. There was the taxi, there was, I can't remember what else there was. There was a pretzel. I think there was just a few New York inspired type charms, and I just thought they were absolutely brilliant. So anyway, just have a look at some of those, because yeah, I thought they were fabulous. Anyway, while I was in store, I thought I'd better have a look at what else is around and actually get hold of some of these bags and decide properly for myself whether I thought they were good value, good quality, and all the rest of it. So as we say, let's look at the price point of some of these things. So the Tabby bag, let's have a look at the Tabby bag. There were $375, $450, depending on the size of the bag. The Tabby bag has been so popular. I have heard of this bag and I've seen it quite a lot. And I know there's quilted versions, more padded versions, there's shearling versions, there's all sorts of ones. And this is just a great flap bag. And yeah, getting hold of it and looking at it, it is really nice. There's nothing more to say about it. I think it's just one of those bags that if you like the aesthetic of just the normal flat bag that can be worn crossbody, it's got a little top handle, it's just great. It's very baguette-esque. It is. And for the price point, they're fabulous. Whether you like the big C on the front, that's up to you, but they are a great bag, and for the price I think they're fabulous. I really, really do. So let's talk about the Empire bag. So this is the bag that so many people have gone crazy for. It has been sold out everywhere for months and months. This is, I suppose, Coach's version of the Birkin or the Margot bag. I think it's more reminiscent of the Margot bag. It's slightly slouchy, but not quite as slouchy as the Margot, and it's got a zipper at the top, which is great. It's got a crossbody strap, it's got the top handles. I actually managed to get my hands on one. There was one available in Leeds, and that is as of now. So guys, if you are wanting one, go to Leeds, because I've got one in black, and it was a size 40. I would have thought the size 40 would be really big. It didn't feel it. It felt just like a large tote bag. It didn't feel any bigger than my Birkin 35, which is up here. So that's really surprised me when she said that was a size 40, because it looked, I would have said it was a 35, but I don't know what sizes the Empire comes in. But anyway, that was the 40. The leather felt really nice. I took all the stuffing out and it felt slouchy-ish, not really thin and sort of smushy leather, but it felt like it would slouch, so it wasn't too boxy. It was really nice. It was really nice. Now the size 40, let me just find out how much it is. So the size 40 was £695, I believe, which for that bag, in that leather, in that style, for that sold out piece, is amazing price. Absolutely amazing price. You can't get even one of the smaller Mulberry bags for that. So when you're comparing things, it is a fantastic price point. Would I buy one? I mean, I have to admit, I was sort of half tempted, only because they are sold out everywhere. And I had my hands on one and she was saying, we never have them, so you're very lucky there's one here. But yeah, I don't want to waste £700 because I know I wouldn't use it. I just know I wouldn't use it. I have no use for that type of bag, other than I've got the Birkins in different sizes. That would be a fantastic work bag. If I still went to the office, that would be great. And I can imagine a couple of the charms hanging off it. Honestly, for the price, I thought it was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So why won't I buy it? Well, the reason I won't buy that particular bag is because the style, it is just, I don't go to an office anymore. I don't need a bag to commute with or anything like that. So it just wouldn't get the use. So that is why I wouldn't buy an Empire bag. But I think if you guys like that style and would use it, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So yes, I would highly recommend it. Why wouldn't I buy another Coach bag? Well, I just none of it grabbed me at all. None of it, there was nothing in store where I was like, oh, I love this store. And the customer service was amazing. The store set out was amazing. It was very luxurious feel to it. Things in cabinets, and it didn't feel crowded, or, you know, it just felt really, really nice environment. So there's nothing against the brand at all. There's just nothing in there that grabs me enough to think, oh, there just isn't. I don't know how else to describe it. I think I'm very, very lucky with the collection that I have, and I know how privileged I am. I get that. And I think because of that, I sort of think I've got other things that are going to grab me more than that. And when you're very blinkered like that, and when you're very blinkered to, oh, Louis Vuitton, what's coming out, that's where my brain goes to immediately. So all the other brands, I always compare back to Louis Vuitton, even if they're completely different price points. I would often think, oh, I could buy 4 Coach bags or 1 Louis Vuitton bag, and I would still just go for the 1 Louis Vuitton bag. And I think that's just, yeah, I think we just gravitate to what we love. So I think my conclusion on all of this is there is nothing wrong with Coach. I just don't love the aesthetic as much as some of the other brands. And therefore, there's nothing in there that's going to absolutely grab me. I think for the price point, they are amazing. Honestly, really good. Particularly the cherries. Go get some of the cherry collection, because it's just fun. And if you like that, just go spend 275 or 350 or whatever some of these bags are, rather than spending a fortune on the Murakami, unless you really want the Murakami. Don't scratch the itch. If you want the Murakami, get the Murakami. But if you just like the aesthetic, go look at Coach. It's just brilliant. Anyway, that is my conclusion on Coach. Let me know. Do you love Coach? Do you have a load of Coach items? Lots of you do, I know, because a lot of you ask me why, or just what my thoughts are on Coach, or why I haven't bought it. So I hope that's been sort of informative. But let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on another one.